You are listening to Dog Decks Radio, the nation's animal station.
We all know broadcaster, presenter, journalist, author and thoroughly decent dog-liking chap Nicky Campbell. Well, hang on to your hats, listeners, because he is here. This is what he had to tell me.
When I came into the Campbell family home, my family home, I was round about 12 weeks maybe, because my birth mother and I parted when I was 9 days old. Then I went into a kind of holding area. So I was there for a few weeks. And then I came into the Campbell family home. And there was a famous carnival of the family when I arrived. And my sister Fiona was allowed to take the day off school. And I arrived. And there was a great hullabaloo, not that I remember. And I think that Dad and Mum thought, more so Mum than Dad, maybe get a puppy. Because the people next door, who my parents, over the wooden fence, who my parents referred to as the academics next door, because they worked at the university, their dog Judy, who was a fox terrier, pure fox terrier, had escaped one night and had wandered into the environs of Edinburgh South with all those old Morris miners steaming past her. But she avoided them and she stayed alive. It's all about staying alive, staying alive. I'm not sure about now with the level of traffic, but she escaped and she got back a couple of days later to everyone's amazement. And it transpired a few weeks later that she was pregnant.
She'd had quite an adventure then.
She had quite an adventure. And I think it was probably like that bit in Lady and the Tramp, where they're around the back of the Italian restaurant. And he's serenading her.
Probably not one bit like that.
I think it was completely like that.
Do you think?
I think, yeah. I think it was a copy and paste job. And so I think they thought about Dad, said, over my dead body, I'm going to get a puppy. But I think they thought, well, they relented. He went next door to have a look at the puppies and came back with a puppy and came back with Candy. And I think they relented because they thought with a new baby in the home, it might be good for my sister, 5 years older than me, and her noise might have been out of joint. Indeed, I was making the noise and her nose might have been out of joint. So they got the puppy. And then that was the beginning of a beautiful lifelong friendship. I had no notion of the fact that we were of different species. And I know we did everything together. We crawled together, we sniffed together. I always sniffed my food before I ate it. I copied him. And we spent all our days together. And you never forget the death of a dog, especially when you're 11 years old. And it struck me like an absolute hammer blow. And it still does when I think about it. It's just awful. It was the worst day of my life. And looking back, it was one of the worst days of my life still. You know, if you had a top 5 worst days of your life, it's right there. It's right there. I'll never forget him. He was a beautiful little dog. And I feel that I should have been there for him because he was in kennels when we came back from the Highlands. His dad was worried about him worrying sheep. And so I got back and got home and he wasn't there. It's terrible.
So you didn't see him at all?
No, after getting back from the holidays, didn't see him. I wanted to put an announcement in the Scotsman because, of course, in the Scotsman newspaper, people put announcements when family members died. And I wanted to put an announcement in the newspaper of my parents. And I sort of looked at all the other announcements and found a form of words, but my parents didn't quite go that far. But no, I'll never, ever, ever forget that little dog, Candy. I've got a picture of him over there on my wall.
I saw the little video clip of him actually
on
your Twitter feed. That was lovely. And he looked exactly as I thought he would as well. So your writing definitely stood up.
Well, he was a fox terrier cross, of course, because Judy had, when she strayed, she probably met a stray who had strayed. And that, of course, wasn't a fox terrier. So Candy was what we used to call a mongrel. We now call crosses.
Yeah.
So
Heinz 57.
Yeah, exactly. So he was a lovely dog. Beautiful dog. I can still remember the smell of his ears. And his chair, he had his chair upstairs. He used to watch the world go by and wait for me to come home. And all these hairs were on the chair, chairs of hairs. And after he died, I gathered some of the hairs together and wound some wool around them to keep them. I could still smell it. I remember smelling it when I was a little boy, trying to get them back. But there we are.
I just want to talk about this moment where you and Candy were playing, and a passerby saw you through the window and came dashing up to the door to alert your mother to the fact that this dog was killing the little boy, listeners. But actually, Nicky was there brawling with his dog brother.
And, we were just play fighting. It happened quite a lot, actually, but there's one particular occasion. Mum always used to tell the story. There's this woman, we were on the window. We had a sort of, it's sort of long seat, like a bench with a cushion on the top at the window, I remember.
Like a bay.
Yeah, that's it. And then we were on there fighting. And this woman came rushing, oh my God, your child is being mauled by a dog. And Mum went, yeah, thanks very much. Okay, fine.
Your mum was so cool.
It happened all the time.
Nicky, most of us probably don't really understand the impact of being adopted has on a person's life. As non-adopted people, looking at your childhood, Nicky Campbell's childhood, we would kind of think, well, he had a really great family and they loved him and a really great life. Why on earth would this man have problems with that adoption? Now, I would strongly recommend that every non-adopted person reads One of the Family so that they can actually really understand, because you explain that to us so brilliantly and so simply, so succinctly, because you talk about being an imposter. You talk about it being a secret, and that some people knew your secret, and you weren't ever quite sure who knew, who didn't know, whether somebody was going to let it out of the bag. When I was reading it, it's actually quite terrifying. We don't get it. We kind of think that, an adopted person may look in the mirror and not recognise any part of their parents in them. And I think that for most non-adopted people, that's kind of where it stops. It's much, much more than that, isn't it? Much more.
Yeah, it's about feeling inauthentic, not real. You were meant to be somebody else. And however much you're loved, and I couldn't have been loved anymore. And my mum and dad are my mum and dad. They're my real mum and dad. They're my mum and dad. Definitely. They looked after me. They brought me up, and they cherished me and treasured me and taught me about life. But you always know, even if they say you're special and you're chosen, being special and being chosen is being different. And so, you all I wanted so much not to be adopted and to belong. There's always something inside you that makes you feel that you don't belong. And you do feel like a little bit of an imposter, that you've just kind of barged in. They're not telling you that. You're telling you that. Something inside you is telling you that. And there's these people out there, this woman out there, this mother out there somewhere who, however positive a picture is painted of her, rejected you and didn't want you, and that stays with you deep down. I'm not speaking for I wouldn't claim to speak for all adopted people, but it's just I do know a lot of adopted people who feel like this, because on Long Lost Family I meet a lot, and I meet a lot in life, and sometimes people cross the street and go, oh yeah, you said that and they wrote that, and it's brilliant when that happens. And a lot of adopted people say, yeah, that's how I feel. That's how I felt. That's how I still feel. And so, I think it's inside all adopted people, but some adopted people manage to lock it up and some don't.
So it's a feeling of being rejected.
Rejected, not belonging, not really knowing who you are, because you're not meant to be who you are. You're meant to be someone else. It's all very complicated and inside you and complex inside you, but life is difficult. But what I did, I just tried to explain that, because it does stay with you and it informs and colors your life, as you go on.
One of the things in the book that pulled me up short was when you had your birth certificate and there was Nicholas Lackey and there was Nicky Campbell. These two different people. When I read it, I thought, well, actually, Nicholas Lackey was a possibility, and so was Nicky Campbell. And you became Nicky Campbell. Nicholas Lackey never really existed when I was reading it.
No.
And of course, I have no connection to you or your life or your experiences. So it's a very simple thing to say, isn't it?
Yeah, that sums it up. It's me, but it's not me, and it's somebody else, and I don't know who it is. And just when you say Lackey, I feel kind of uncomfortable hearing the word, but
it's not you at all.
No, it's not me, but then it is me. Then it was meant to be, and then it was all the people that I'm birth related to, but then it's not, and it's somebody else, which proves that I've not been the person who I might have been, but I'm somebody else, but maybe I'm the person I was meant to be. So it's all like that a bit. It's
sliding doors, isn't it, really?
It is. It is sliding doors.
And that happens to us all every day. I'm being very simplistic here, and I've got to be careful about what I'm saying, because it's, people are listening and I'm talking about people's feelings and people's lives. But, what would happen if we didn't get that train, if we didn't get that bus, if we didn't actually take that job offer that came along, if we didn't get that grade that we needed at school? So I am being very insensitive when I say that, I think. So forgive me, listeners. But
no, no.
You could have been Nicholas Lackey. You could have been Nicky Campbell.
Who would I have been? That's the thing. I think that's what a lot of people think. You were
always meant to be Nicky Campbell.
I was meant to be. Yeah.
Trust me.
Divine.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it, when you see somebody on a tube train or something, or you see somebody on a bus that or haven't seen for ages, and you go, oh, yeah, Tube's a very good example, actually. And you think about that film, Sliding Doors, with Hannah, what was his name?
John
Hannah, Kate Blanchett, is that right?
No, the other one with the rocks and the apple baby.
Oh yeah, her.
Oh, what's she called? Oh my god. Gwyneth Paltrow.
Gwyneth Paltrow and Virginia McKenna.
Yes. Oh, how could we forget Virginia?
She's the queen of compassion.
She is.
Virginia, I've been lucky enough to meet her on a number of occasions.
I haven't. I just worship her from afar.
Oh, what a woman. What an amazing, amazing human being. But the sliding doors thing, if you're on the London Underground, and so there's one carriage and there's another, mind the gap, like we always used to push on. We don't do that anymore. I've been on the Underground for more than a year. I used to travel on it all the time. So you just push on. And then you see somebody in the carriage and you think, it's amazing. What a coincidence. But then think of all the times when the person that you would have said, oh, amazing, what a coincidence, was in another carriage and you didn't see them. So it would be the most amazing coincidence if you didn't have coincidences, really, because, it's a law of averages. But yeah, there we go. It's an interesting film, that, isn't it? Anything with Virginia. Is it?
Definitely. Yeah.
Is it your favourite film?
Ever. Yeah. I don't know whether that makes me sound very
no
unintelligent.
Yeah,
but I do. No. I love it because of this business of chance.
Do you think I was expecting you to say sort of some black and white French art cinema from the 1950s?
No.
As people say, what's your favourite film? And they go, what's your favourite film?
I'm very lazy. I say things like Love Actually. Anything that doesn't require any thought, really.
I like The Sound of Music. It's one of my favourite films.
Oh, do you? My husband loves that too. He cries all the time.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, adore it. It's got everything you possibly want. Nuns, Nazis, and great songs. I
want to talk about your mum, your real mum, Sheila. Now, there is a moment where my heart stopped when she was pacing up and down in the hall outside your room, and she wanted to tell you that you had a half-sister.
Somewhere. Yeah. This is when I was becoming interested in girls, so she was naturally concerned around Edinburgh at that time. So that was the thing. And yeah, it was, I think she may have told me when I was much, much, much younger, but I wasn't aware of it. I find that a lot along those families. When did you know you were adopted? Well, I don't know. I was sort of formally told. People say, when I was 11, but they may have told me before that. I'm not sure. They may have mentioned that I had a mother. So it all gets clouded in young memory But yeah, she told me that, and from then on, I was thinking, my goodness, there's a sister out there. But you have to be psychologically prepared to do these things. And when I did meet my sister, it was my half birth sister. She's great, and we really get on, and we talk quite a lot. And she got a first class degree in maths. So I thought, well, I haven't got those genes. What's that? Imagine that. Imagine getting a first class degree in maths. Oh, bloody hell! First class degree in anything, but if you're going to get a first class degree in maths, that's like, whoa, seeing things a certain way, and analyze and seeing shapes and understanding, numbers and going into the abstract, going into the what they call the quantum world. It's almost like going into the quantum world. And so when when she met our birth mother, who was a blank bit of paper, who didn't want to talk about the past, didn't want to talk about anything, just wanted to be superficial. And of course, we had curiosity. We wanted to know who our fathers were. We wanted to know what happened, what had led her to be in that situation. We wanted to know about her life, and we felt that we had something of a right, and she had something of an imperative to tell us. But of course, Esther was analyzing, wanted to know what, and of course, for Esther, it was incredibly frustrating. And I'd met Stella, then Esther met Stella, and then we met each other and we exchanged notes. And it was a huge relief to me, the fact that she had found it as difficult as I had found it. But she's great. And even though she's got a first in maths, none of it added up. Just thought of that, and it added up. Yeah, but so it was. We were a great comfort to each other because of all that, because of the fact that we felt not only rejected in the first place, and our mother met us and wanted to be our mum, which didn't seem right, but she wanted to be a part of our lives. You already had a
mum; you didn't need another one.
For sure, she wanted to be a part of our lives, but then she didn't want to tell us anything about her life apart from the kind of the here and now in the present, and it was difficult, very difficult. But I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I met her, because it's otherwise I'd be here thinking about it,
wondering. For sure. Did you ever feel that you were being disloyal to your real mum?
Yeah, I did, and that's the problem. When I met her, I felt I was being disloyal to my real mum, and then I wanted to I literally, after meeting her, felt so uncomfortable with the situation that I went upstairs and lay on the hotel bedroom in a fetal position. And you don't have to be an amateur psychiatrist to kind of work that one out. It was awful. I just wanted to go home. And then you feel guilty and slightly disloyal to your birth mother, because you've come all this way and you've traced her and in her life, and she's spoken to you, and you've kind of hit a brick wall and realized you're not sure if you want to be there. And so it's a maelstrom. It's a mental maelstrom. Yeah. But one of the first things she said to me, sorry, there's a man mowing the lawn across there in the block of flats. One of the things she said to me was, when we met in the Dublin hotel, was really one of the first things she said, which gave a clue to her, was, do you like dogs? And I kind of didn't think, at the time, I just thought it was I said, yeah, of course, because I've always been obsessed with dogs and animals. Now, I didn't think about it so much at the time, but as the years have gone on, I realized it was a big clue, and it was a big hint, and it was I think it's a really interesting question, and I think it's a really important question, because it's an empathy test. Yeah. It's checking out your compassion and your humanity, because we're not human unless we embrace animals. We're not properly rounded. Our souls are truncated. We can't, if you can't see beyond yourself, and see into the greater kingdom and the greater world of which we are a part, it's incredibly limiting and incredibly limited. And I'm quite bigoted about this, to be honest with you. If people don't see the wonders and treasures, and I just have to look at a picture of a bonobo, or a chimpanzee or a gorilla, and I get tingles through my body. Or I look at an elephant family, and I get, it's greater than any poetry I can read. It's greater than any music I can ever hear. It's greater than any old master painting that I can look at in any gallery. It's the greatest, most beautiful thing. And it changes my physical state, and it changes my mental state. And I think, how can anyone pick up an assault rifle and want to kill it? But how can anyone not be completely and utterly moved by that beauty, that unadulterated purity as well? And she said, "Do you like dogs?" And I think that was a little thing there. I think a little test. It's a good, I am bigoted against, if someone says I don't like dogs, I don't like animals. I think, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
What the hell's wrong with you? And people who sometimes you see things on Twitter, and it winds me up. I try and stay out of it. Like the trophy hunting row, when people say, "Oh, but well, it's preserving," but when the thing is, okay, just say that they're right. Just say that there are, and I've discussed this with Will Travers, and he said, it's bollocks. It's largely bollocks. But just say there is an argument that you're preserving this money is going into preserving the environment, which preserves the species, and you're looking after the habitats because Americans and Russians and Germans are coming. Okay, just say that's true. That's not my base camp. My base camp is not that. My base camp is not that utilitarian, well, what if it does provide money? My 2 points are, we have to provide a different narrative. And that narrative is one that respects and loves animals, so that these people will still come, and these people will still put money into it, and these people will still preserve the habitats. These people who said, well, we love animals. Okay, put your money where your mouth is and put your gun away. But also, it's the moral thing. The moral point about taking the life of a sentient animal for fun, even if it provides. Ricky Gervais put it very well.
He did, yeah.
When he said, you go into a hospital, and so I want to give a load of money to the hospital, but do you mind if I shoot some of the patients?
It's true, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's right.
And so it's that empathy test. It's that compassion test. And she told me about this little dog, Toby, who'd been in our room when she was giving birth to me, that was under my bed for 9 days and guarding me and looking after me. This little dog, Toby. So I think that when I met Candy, I was in tune with dogs. And so when I actually had my breakdown, and I saw my psychiatrist, I said, is it possible that first 9 days, because animals are so important to me, that first 9 days, was it possible that he said, absolutely, it's imprint. You would have remembered that imprint, and the smell and the sound and the feel and the presence of the dog. We
have to remember that dogs are so flipping clever, and they don't really have to be taught how to do the things that they do. They are so accepting of us, aren't they? They don't care. It's not important, is it? They soon forget about, I don't know, if we're not having a very good day and we've shouted at somebody in the house, they're kind of like, oh, well, we won't bother judging him. We'll just go over there and give him a bit of a, paw on the hand or a bit of a cuddle or whatever, because he obviously needs to be pulled back to himself. Something's pulling him away, and he needs to forget about that and just be in the moment with me for a while. I get that loads with my girls.
Do you?
They're so clever.
Yeah,
they probably do that more so with me than my husband, because I probably get pulled away an awful lot more than he does.
How old are they?
They're both young. We lost our Labrador, I can say that without crying now, 2 years ago. I'm very proud of that, listeners. I've not cried. That's the first time.
Was your lab a he or a she lab?
He was a he.
How old was
he? He was gorgeous. He was 14.
Okay.
He was very, very ill, though, Nicky. From the day that he was born, he had, I think he had one set of joints that were good, that were doable.
But he had a happy life.
3 days before his first birthday, the vet told us to put him to sleep. And I'm surprised you didn't hear me, even though I was 12,000 miles away in Australia. I was very cross. And I sold my car and spent all my savings, and we got him new joints, and he had lots of medication, and he had to be handled very carefully for his life. He wasn't allowed to play with other dogs and so on, which was a bit of a shame, but you can compensate for that in other ways. And And yeah, he bounced and wagged until he was 14. But he was the love of my life. I can say that without hesitation. Nobody comes close.
Were you with him at the end?
Yeah, and it was horrific.
But then he's at peace.
Yeah,
So,
it's taken me 2 years to come to terms with him not being here, and it's fine. And I had a great time with him. And then we had Bella, who's a mutt from Eastern Europe, and she would be the equivalent of a puppy farm breeding bitch, I suppose. I mean, she wasn't on a puppy farm, but that's what she was used for. She was the only dog. She'd been in a shed with no windows in the dark for a year and a half, had 2 litters. The last litter were all stillborn. That's when he wanted to get rid of her. So he did, and she came to us. And then Medina came a year later, and she was 5 weeks old when they found her abandoned in the woods. So she's kind of just like any other dog, really, because she went into rescue very, very quickly. But yeah, they're gorgeous. Now, I wanted to ask you something about your success, Nicky. You are obviously very successful even. You've got 4 gorgeous daughters. We've all seen them. They're lovely. Your wife, lovely lady, very happy, very successful career, and you're a really good bloke. You are a thoroughly decent human being, by all accounts. I've not heard anybody say anything bad, nobody that's important anyway. And, you know, considering you're in the limelight as much as you are, I would have thought that, you know, if you were a bit of an arsehole, somebody would have made that very clear, wouldn't they? Because people are like that, for sure. Now, do
my
you
wife
think...
makes it clear. She thinks I'm a bit of an arsehole.
We all say that about our husbands, Tina.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that
My brother-in-law,
pushed yourself to be the best version of yourself that you could possibly be, to show the world or to show your birth mother that she'd actually missed out on something really great? I would do that, I think.
That's a very good question.
I would compete with myself.
Yeah.
Just to show everybody that I was great and I shouldn't have been given away. You don't have to answer that.
I think Sammy Davis Jr. Gingerbread. I think he said that for every performer, it's "Look at me, Ma." So I just wonder if that was going on at all. I don't know. I don't know, but maybe it would be a
question you can answer.
It would be in the depths of the subconscious, but maybe there's some Freudian. No, not Freudian, but don't bring Emma Freud into this. Or Richard Curtis, back to your favorite film. But I think that it's possibly in there somewhere, our motives, but what motivates any of us is so, so complex. We don't want to get into the discussion either about free will. So that's philosophical. But I didn't, maybe. And I think maybe when I traced her, I thought she'd be quite pleased because I was young and famous when I was young. And so I thought, hey, she's going to think, oh, this is the guy. Oh, look, he's done well. Oh, he's on the telly. Wow. So looking back, I kind of think it's a bit of an arsehole to think that. But maybe that was the point. I thought, she should know that I've done well for myself. So I think probably I'm conscious of that. She should know that I've done this. She should know that, I've managed to achieve this. She should know who I am, which is all part of the same.
You weren't aware that you had this bipolar condition?
Not until
did anybody notice?
Well, just about the ups and downs. One's emotional, mental roller coaster throughout life and the depression. But no, until you actually get it diagnosed, it's quite, it's not like, hey, I've got bipolar. It's kind of, okay, right. Okay, thanks. I know. Now I know. I know I've got a something. It's good to know you've got a something.
Your job probably would have masked the kind of manic. It would have absorbed a lot of that. That's what I'm trying to say, I think. So I can understand why you wouldn't have been aware of it. Okay, I know you've got stuff to do. Thank you very much for talking to my listeners, Nicky.
So
have a lovely time. Have a lovely Easter with the family. And again, thank you so very much for for
was
talking
great.
to us. Okay, take care, Nicky.
Thank you for asking such good questions. I will give you a review. 5 stars.
Join the Kibble Club today. Buy a bag, save a life, just £2 a month. Feed a friend, make their day. DogDeskAnimalAction.com. Kibble Club, hooray!